Hello, everybody. It is 10:04 p.m. on the East Coast, and we are live. It's Friday. It's May Day. Hope everybody's having a good day, good time. Feeling good, feeling spicy. I actually prepared a little bit for stream today. So, without wasting too much time here, I am just gonna have us get started. 1 second. Okay. Where do I want to start? There's a lot. There's actually a lot. I guess we'll start with actually the main sort of topic, I guess, of the day here. Alrighty. Because we live in a joke of a country that just can't get its shit together no matter how hard it tries. Mike Lawler, Congressman Mike Lawler, proudly serving New York Hudson's Valley, wants to condemn anti-Semitic rhetoric from Candace Owens and Hasan Piker with new resolution. I just want to know, are we ever going to be a serious country? Are we? Or are we just going to keep doing shit like this? Do we ever become a serious country with serious goals and serious motives? This is from April 29th. Today, Rep. Mike Lawler and Josh Gottheimer introduced bipartisan, remember that. This is a bipartisan resolution condemning the rise of anti-Semitic, hate-filled rhetoric disseminated by prominent online personalities, including Hasan Piker and Candace Owens. I'm surprised they didn't get Nick Fuentes in there, but I think he's lost motion. I think he's fell off a little bit. He had a moment right after Charlie Kirk's assassination, but he's kind of fallen by the wayside at this point. I mean, I don't really hear from him as much as I used to. You know what I mean? Get your shit together, Nick. What's going on? I'm glad he's not relevant anymore, really. I mean, he's relevant still, but he has lost a little motion. He lost the battle to Candace Owens. And calling on social media platforms and public leaders to take stronger action against hate. So, this, of course, is ridiculous for many different reasons, but we'll just tackle a few of the main ones here. 1. Hasan Piker is not anti-Semitic. He's an anti-Zionist. He's anti Israel, but he's not anti Semitic. Of course, there is a continued conflation good job. There's a continued conflation between the two, specifically coming from the government of Israel. Interesting. And so here we are. Here we are. Zionists love to do this. They love to paint this picture where anti Zionism and anti Semitism are the same thing. It's not the case. Candace Owens, on the other hand, is anti Semitic. That being said, I still think a resolution to condemn her is pretty silly. If only because they haven't condemned people like Randy Fine, who is a fucking congressman and says incredibly Islamophobic stuff all the time. So awesome that we are condemning Hasan Piker and Candace Owens, but never Randy Fine, never any of the Islamophobic people, always just the supposedly anti-Semitic people. Awesome. And again, Candace Owens is anti-Semitic. I don't want to pretend that she isn't, because she is. But Hasan isn't. He regularly speaks against anti-Semitism. So it's very silly. The resolution highlights the growing influence of online personalities and the alarming surge in anti Semitism, driven in part by disinformation and extremist rhetoric. Piker has openly applauded Hamas terrorism, downplayed the mass rape of civilians on October 7th, and dehumanized Orthodox Jews as inbred. Owens has trafficked in vile conspiracy theories, promoted blood libels, and platformed Holocaust deniers. With an audience of millions, they have a responsibility to confront hatred and bigotry in every form, not to amplify it to the masses. So if they won't call it out, we will. So, will you call out Randy Fine? I will take you seriously when you finally get around to calling out Randy Fine. How about that? How about that? Hatred is hatred, period. It doesn't matter whether it comes from the far right or the far left. We cannot be selective in calling out anti Semitism. When influential voices spread conspiracy theories, promote terrorism, or dehumanize Jewish people, it fuels real world violence and intimidation. We must stand up and speak out. I get that speaking up is not easy, but our constituents didn't elect us to always take the easy path. That's what principled leadership is all about. And then there's the full resolution can be read here. 4 pages. 4 pages. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if we got anything. What do we think? I mean, I suspect the biggest hits, the big ones, so stuff like rapes didn't happen on October 7th. Obviously we have the inbred comment. They're going with that route for sure. Very very textbook in regards to not liking Hasan or attacking Hasan. It's very, very much par for the course here. Anti-Semitic incidences have significantly increased, including a 344% increase over the past 5 years. It's really hard. And a 893% increase over the last 10 years. So it's really hard to trust these numbers because they tend to include anti-Zionism when they make these calculations. I don't think anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. It's not. So it's kind of hard for me to... the numbers are perhaps a little inflated. Who knows? Oh, they did include the America Deserved 9/11. I didn't think they were going to because it's not specifically like an anti-Semitic comment. Whereas in August 2019, during a stream on Twitch, Hasan Piker stated that America deserved 9/11, expressing support for Hamas. Da 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 da. Referred to Orthodox Jews as inbred. Downplayed sexual violence. Yeah, all the usual shit. Hamas over Israel every single time, and doubly doubt on claims in multiple media appearances that Hamas is 1,000 times better than Israel, which they are. That is true. And then Candace Owens, the stuff that they include for her, casting doubt on the truth of the stories of Holocaust survivors, false claims that Jews are taught by ancient religious texts to hate non-Jews. Like, this is anti-Semitism. What Hassan, do you see the difference though? For Hassan, they say America deserved 9/11, calling Orthodox Jews inbred, which he didn't do, but okay. And taking a quote out of context where he's talking about how it doesn't change the dynamic for him. It just changes it doesn't change the fact that genocide is wrong. So that's what they have for him. And then for Candace Owens, it's Holocaust denial. An anti-Semitic claim that the United States is controlled by satanic pedophiles who work for Israel. I'm not even sure I would argue that one's anti-Semitic. Like, I guess. um, like I guess that one's like on the line. I feel like that one's a little, but false claims that Jews are killing Christian children as part of religious rituals and that Jewish texts and traditions promote the sexual assault of children, which is an anti-Semitic trope constituting a blood libel. Joseph Mengele on Jews during the Holocaust, bizarre propaganda, continuing that some of the stories, by the way, sound completely absurd. Oh my god. Yeah, so that's Candace Owens. Like, you see, I think there's a bit of a difference. I think there's a bit of a difference here. So, yeah. Fascinating. Interesting. Again, I will care when they decide to condemn Randy Fine, who is an actual congressperson who engages in Islamophobia all the fucking time. You notice how they don't condemn people who engage in Islamophobia. Pretty crazy. Pretty wild. Don't know what that's about. Strange. Okay. So there's that bullshit. In some other news. So some tabs here. Da da da. In some other news, it has been a bad week for Candace Owens. Now, I do think that things have been interesting because Laura Loomer has been going off for weeks now, really, a couple weeks about Candace Owens. I possibly will be doing a video about that, but um haven't quite finished that yet. But So we do have some choice comments from Laura Loomer as well here, but to begin with, Candace Owens, on top of being condemned in Congress, is being sued. Charlie Kirk's former security chief sues Candace Owens for defamation. The lawsuit focuses on remarks made by Ms. Owens, a right wing podcaster, about Mr. Kirk's killing, highlighting a growing tension among factions of the American right. Now, this is her second defamation lawsuit. I want to make that clear. She's currently being sued by the wife of the Prime Minister of France, freaking Brigitte Macron, because she has said that Brigitte Macron is trans. She has been transvestigating Brigitte Macron, and because of that, Brigitte Macron has sued her for defamation. And she is now being sued for defamation by Charlie Kirk's former security chief. I think maybe Candace should take the hint that some of her theories are just not the best, not the like I'm all for speaking your mind, I'm all for saying what you need, what you want to say, free speech, love it, live for it. Um consequences of your actions, I don't know what to say other than she said some crazy shit. And while I don't like Brigitte Macron because she's a fucking predator, which I think is honestly the most frustrating part about all of this, is that people are so focused on the Brigitte Macron is trans aspect that I feel like the fact that she's an actual predator gets swept under the rug. like, I mean, just, I don't know, just more important things. And on top of that, it also ties Brigitte Macron being a predator to trans people, which is ridiculous because she's not fucking trans, but also just that's not like a thing. Trans people are not predators automatically, but people love to do that shit. But she's being sued by Brian Harpole, who has alleged that Miss Owens, a right wing firebrand, inaccurately accused him of meeting with Mr. Kirk's wife, Erica, at a military base a day before Mr. Kirk was shot at Utah Valley University in September. He is also suing Mitch Snow, a retired Army sergeant who stated on Miss Owens' podcast that he was an eyewitness to what he described as the secret encounter. In the 69-page lawsuit, Mr. Harpole, who owns a private security firm and worked for Mr. Kirk for several years, accused Ms. Owens of engaging in a coordinated and deliberate campaign designed to defame him. He denied any involvement in any plot to assassinate Mr. Kirk and called Ms. Owens a conspiracy theorist who displayed a pattern of seeking public attention and media exposure. Ms. Owens responded to the lawsuit on her daily podcast on Thursday evening, calling it insane, calling Mr. Harpole's allegations and challenging Mr. Harpole's allegations and denying any wrongdoing. I've only ever been interested in getting to the truth of what happened to Charlie Kirk, she said. We will take a look at Candace's response in a minute here. Then it talks about Candace investigating the Charlie Kirk shit and all this other stuff with Brigitte Macron. I think I said he was the prime minister. He's the president. I don't care. I don't pay attention to the fucking French. Last month, Trump got involved. Yeah, Trump posted on Truth Social calling her a low IQ individual, which I don't fuck with Candace Owens, but he only did that shit because she's black. He only calls like I swear to God, he only calls like minorities fucking low IQ. I've not ever heard him call a white person a low IQ individual. He'll call them all sorts of other shit, but yeah. Mr. Harpole's suit seeks an injunction requiring Miss Owens to remove defamatory statements from social media as well as financial damages. Ms. Owen suggested that she welcomed the lawsuit because she believed it would allow her to use the discovery process to seek additional information from Mr. Harpole and Turning Point, including text messages, video footage, and a deposition of Mrs. Kirk. In January, Turning Point also sent Ms. Owens a cease and desist letter, portions of which she read on her show at the time. The letter demanded that Ms. Owens stop claiming that the nonprofit or any of its employees or affiliates knew about the assassination beforehand, participated in the assassination day of, or covered up the truth about the assassination after the fact. A spokesperson for Turning Point did not respond to a request for comment. So, crazy, but let's take a look at what Candace had to say. I will pull up her video here. I'm sure she's got it uploaded on her clip channel. She has a clip channel now. It's fucking crazy. Do we have a clip of it though, Candace? Just a clip, Candace. You're killing me. Okay, fine, fuck it. Fuck it. We'll look at her actual episode. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Fuck it. Here she is in all her glory. I'm gonna be putting this baby on 1.3 speed because I don't have all night. I'm gonna skip her intro. Brian Harpole lawsuit.
So let me back up. I was standing in Charlotte Airport about to board my flight to Italy last week, and I received an email. Me and my lawyers received an email. It was randomly sent to us. It was something like a retraction demand, but it wasn't actually a retraction demand because his lawyer, Brian Harpole's lawyer, asserted at the top right away that they were already going to file the lawsuit no matter what in 4 days. This was kind of just a nice heads up that these are our claims that we will be making. What?
Also, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, all that lovely shit. Thank you, please, and thank you. All right.
How curious. What do you mean? You never communicated with me, never spoke, you never issued any sort of retraction demand, you never answered me when I reached out. This is not at all how it normally goes. I mean, I'm pretty accustomed to how lawsuits work. In fact, I can tell you that's never gone like this, ever, for me.
Candace, I don't think that's a good sign. I'm pretty accustomed to how lawsuits work. Perhaps because you have been sued so many times, babe. Maybe it's time to reevaluate just a little bit. Normal people don't get sued this many times, Candace. Even normal content creators don't get sued this many times.
You send, hey, that's what you said is not right. Retract it, or else I am going to sue you. Brian Harpole did no such thing. Okay. So before I tell you why I believe he is doing this, and again, this is my opinion, because this is a very curious strategy, I'm going to at first take you through some of the highlights of the demand, which was poorly organized, but it is really just kind of summarizes the actual lawsuit, which he has now filed. In other words, I want you to understand he had the lawsuit prepared first before he sent me this notification type demand, okay? Pardon me. I also want to mention, because it feels important, that Brian Harpole is using the same lawyer the Daily Wire used to sue me in arbitration for 2 years straight. I'm not going to name the firm, even though the lawyer is publicly tweeting and also has a YouTube channel, so it's not hard to find. But I will just say that's another coincidence. I'm very tired of this guy altogether, mostly because he speaks like he's consumed helium. Anyway, let's get into Brian Harpole's stated grievances, okay? First up, he wants to sue me. He's suing me for maligning him when I suggested, when I stated that not having an ambulance on standby is inappropriate. It's wrong. I'm not kidding. This is what was written. It reads, in your podcast episode titled, Why is Everyone Crashing Out Over the Charlie Kirk Investigation? You maligned Kirk's security team, including Mr. Harpole, by stating, quote, in real life, when you spend millions of dollars on security, on your security detail, they don't have you sitting like a duck and forget to have an ambulance behind you. This statement not only incorrectly calls into question the competence of Mr. Harpole and his team, but it defames Mr. Harpole by falsely accusing him and his team of criminal negligence by failing to render aid to Kirk after he was shot. Okay, so competence is a matter of opinion, Brian. I don't believe you can sue people.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't fuck with Candace that much, but I don't know how much of this is actually viable. I like I have said in the past that defamation is very hard to win, very hard to prove. You have to prove damages as well. I think the issue with Candace is you have to prove that she's doing this maliciously, and I don't think she is. You have to prove that she's knowingly lying, and I don't think she's lying. I think she genuinely believes what she is saying. Um so I just don't think that this is going to work. She did have some stuff to say on Twitter as well. She's just going to go through the lawsuit and stuff here, so I'm going to go to Twitter and look at some of her tweets as well. But she is doing her thing, I guess. Duh, duh, duh. Here's one of them. I have not retracted a single claim I have made about Erica Kirk. Stop with the BS Twitter trends. I stand by every single statement I have made and have not edited any of my past statements in light of Brian Harpole's lawsuit. I look forward to the power of subpoena. So she does not plan on backing down. She's going to follow this through, it seems. You've got people going through the lawsuit and everything. Very interesting. I think that this is probably a misstep. I think suing people for defamation is always a misstep. Especially if you're a public figure, which I imagine Brian Harp I actually don't know if Brian Harpole counts as a public figure. That could be I mean, I guess he probably does, right? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Hmm. She's retweeting Charlie Kirk talking about hate speech. What the hell? Oh man. It's certainly an interesting claim that Brian Harpole is losing clients slash contracts because of me and not like, how his last job ended. Ah! No, I mean, she got a point. She got a point. Your last client got assassinated. That's gonna put a damper on your security business for sure. She got a point. Like, what can I say? She has a fucking point. Yeah, I think that this is probably not going to be a very good lawsuit. Probably not gonna go over the way they are hoping it will. I think that they probably just really think that they can peg her on this because it's Candace Owens and she has been fairly messy, but I don't know that they can prove. I don't know that they can prove defamation. It really will come down to whether Brian Harpole counts as a public figure or not. If he does, then I imagine this will be very hard to prove, and Candace will probably come out on top. If he doesn't, that's a whole other ball game, and I'm not entirely sure how that would play in it. And I'm not entirely sure how that would play out. So interesting. But I'm gonna move on to our next topic here. God, someone needs to start playing the trumpets, playing tabs, playing tabs, play the funeral march, as it were, because holy fuck, it's a bad day for Ben Shapiro. It would appear our old boy hold on. Our guy here, Ben Shapiro, who is, by all accounts, having a bad time, having a bad day as well, because he has an interesting problem on his hands. He is pro-Israel. He's a Zionist. He has no desire to depart from that, and yet his audience has departed from that. His audience has taken the reins. They have taken the steps away from that environment, from that position. They are not pro-Israel. They are not Zionists. The right has started to move on that position. You have seen it in a lot of these back and forths, a lot of these fights that have been playing out back when Candace and Ben were kind of having a split, and even more recently with the fallout between them. You've got Candace, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson on one side, and you've got Ben Shapiro, Erica Kirk, the rest of these people on the other side, and they're the pro-Israel side. Candace is the anti-Israel side, also kind of the anti-Semitic side. And so here we are. But it would seem the Daily Wire has laid off quite a few people. Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire hit with layoffs across a number of teams, largely from Nashville HQ. A company spokesperson says the restructure comes as the company builds out its Northeast and DC teams. The Daily Wire has been hit with another round of layoffs. Ben Shapiro's right-wing media company confirmed the layoffs in a statement to media on Friday afternoon, saying that impacted staffers are a number of teams, and the layoffs were largely concentrated to its Nashville headquarters. Today, the Daily Wire has made a difficult decision to restructure the organization, which included layoffs to a number of teams. We are deeply grateful to those impacted. Their contributions were instrumental to building the Daily Wire into what it is today. The cuts were largely concentrated at our Nashville production office, as the company has invested in new formats, locations, and production models. Our footprint there has evolved. Over the last year, we have added production staff in DC, the Northeast, and Florida. This step allows us to focus our resources on an ambitious slate of new entertainment projects set to release this year. Additionally, we will continue to invest in our editorial team and investigative journalism, where we have already added numerous new reporters across the country and established a DC bureau with a seat in the White House briefing room. A representative for the Daily Wire did not immediately respond to the wrap with further comment. Lots of stuff. And then you have Candace Owens chiming in, of course. We have, yeah. So we have Candace Owens chiming in, which we will go take a look at her, what she's had to say. Because boy, has she had some shit to say, of course. Shocker. It's Candace. She always has shit to say. She always has shit to say, and it's usually crazy. So obviously we have this one from her here saying, hearing that the Daily Wire laid off over 50% of their staff today. As much as I positively despise what their execs put me and my family through, there are a lot of good people that work there with families to feed who could use a prayer. Now, I don't know if they laid off 50% of their staff. That other article doesn't make it sound like they did. I don't know where she's getting that from. I would definitely be curious to know. Candace might have inside sources for all we know, so who knows? Maybe she's right. Maybe she's seen that somewhere else and I just haven't found it yet. And she says, update, I'm hearing it was more like 60%. Like, again, I don't know. Candace is not the most reliable source on all things the Daily Wire, but who knows? Daily Wire fired almost all of their employees today. I love how it went from 50 to 60 to now almost all of their employees. I'm sure Ben Shapiro will offer a kind public message today addressing the sudden layoffs and thanking those employees for their hard work and dedication over the years. Just kidding, it's Ben Shapiro. So yeah, that's what's going on with the Daily Wire. Now, again, this is a direct result of them being too pro-Israel. They have refused to depart from that position, and because of that, they have suffered quite a bit of a loss over the past couple years. They have obviously declined in relevancy. People aren't really looking to Ben Shapiro like they once were. He continues to support Trump. He continues to support Israel, so he'll be good on that front. But other than that, it's just a bit of a disaster for him. I don't really know how he plans to move on from this. But but that is what is going on with the Daily Wire. It's kind of ridiculous. It's ridiculous and I think it's funny because fuck the Daily Wire, fuck Ben Shapiro, but also if Candace Owens outlives you, that's embarrassing. That's a disaster. Like I don't know what you do if Candace Owens outlives you, Ben. Oh, that would be funny though. That would be funny. R.I.P. R.I.P. The Daily Wire. Rest in piss. Hopefully someday we will be truly free of you. Look, at the end of the day, does Ben Shapiro suck? Yes. At the very least, is Candace Owens anti-Israel? Yes. So she wins on that front. She wins on that subject alone. Sorry. Oh, okay. Alrighty. Alrighty. Let's get to next topic, which is actually, I have no idea. 1 second. Oh, yeah, we gotta do this. I haven't gotten to do this yet, and I want to. Erica Kirk has been. Erica Kirk is having an interesting time, I suppose, because on one hand, Turning Point USA seems to be having some issues. It seems like people are not having a good time with Turning Point USA. There was one content creator who did a whole video about leaving Turning Point USA, and people were like, this needs to get in front of Candace and da 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 da. And it was a whole thing. I did think that was very funny because when I clicked on that video, I expected to see somebody who had not I expected to see somebody who had been in Turning Point USA for, I don't know, a year or something. But no, just like many after the events of 9/11, this man heard the fucking call, and after the events of 9/10, he decided to join Turning Point USA. And then a few months later, it's like, actually, I'm leaving. And it was really a lot of Erica's Erica's the best and Turning Point USA is a mess, and I thought it was rather silly to tell you the truth. But I did want to take a look at Erica's video that she did. And I have put this off because I wanted to watch it here with you.
seems to me that
I have. And I am now getting an actual good look at her outfit, and holy fuck. Let's unpack this a little bit. So the hat that says freedom that you can barely see the actual lettering on because it's all black and the hat is all black. And then I guess like what, like a button up silky kind of shirt. It's like a satin, almost like a silky like I'm and then the rings and then just buckets of rings. I um all right, no, what do you got for us, girl? What have you got for us? I'm gonna leave it on one. Actually, no. I want to see. I want to hear her. I want to hear her in her regular voice. Captions on. What it? What have you got for me, Erica? Oh boy. Okay.
nothing will ever be enough for the evil in this world. Our country has become unrecognizable. These people have perverted the truth to the point that they motivated the murder of my husband. They have continuously tried to assassinate the president, and anyone who stands in their way is labeled hateful, racist, fascist, and every other trigger word that is.
Okay. Well, Republicans will label anyone to the left of them as a like vampiric pedophile. So I kind of think you don't have a leg to stand on there. But all right. Okay. Great start. May Charlie be received into the merciful arms of Jesus, our loving Savior. That's such a weird poster to have on the fucking wall, bro. Are you fucking serious? Alright. Do you think they sell these? I'm willing to bet if I look at their merch, they have these in their shop. Oh, man.
Grossly dishonest. We want the best for our country. They don't. This is why Charlie started Turning Point USA in the first place. He didn't trust the radicalized liberal teachers. And this past Saturday, it was a school teacher, of all people, a school teacher.
Okay, but like he started it because he couldn't get into West Point. And then he threw a tantrum and said it was because a black woman got his spot. I just, like Charlie Kirk would have gone to college, I think, if he could have. If he could have gotten into the college of his choice, I don't think we'd be having this conversation. Because Charlie Kirk would probably still be alive off being some, I don't know, officer or something somewhere.
That attempted to change our history for the worst with bullets. And everyone is asking why I even went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And it was because many of the journalists in that room have attempted to dehumanize me. And I wanted to meet some of them face to face, quite frankly. Why have a conversation about me when you can have a conversation with me? So, for example, a journalist from the Daily Mail came up to me. She introduced herself, and she was very gracious. She was saying, "You look so beautiful. I'm so sorry for your loss." To which I replied, "It is so nice to put a name to the face, especially with all of the slander, the lies, accusations that are out there surrounding my husband's murder and myself." And I said to her, "You know what's so interesting? This is my first time at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and I find it so fascinating, the dynamic that is going on right now, because everyone is all dressed up, and you guys are co-mingling in and out of each other's cocktail parties. And so for one night, you are able to put aside all of your differences for the sake of freedom of speech. And then by Monday morning, things will go back to being an absolute bloodbath between all of you." To which she replied, literally, she said, "I know. Isn't it special, right? Isn't tonight so special?"
Like she thought she ate with that story, man. Um, like what do you want me to? You want me to be surprised that DC reporters are a little fucking soulless? Like, what? What am I supposed to fucking say to this? Yeah, shocker. Shocker. The people who report on literal fucking war criminals on a daily basis and often obfuscate and hide war crimes for those people on a daily basis are a little fucking soulless, a little fucking disconnected. Yeah, all right. That's a shocker. That's crazy. Who would have thought? Oh wow, Erica, you really cracked the code there.
And following that conversation, it was time to take our seats, and we went into the big ballroom where the dinner was. And one of the first things I noticed when I walked into that room was quite literally the proximity of the opposing outlets to one another. So you have one table here that's Politico, and another table here that's Fox, and another table here that's WAPO, and you're all crammed together, elbow to elbow. And to make the night even more of a spectacle, every single 10-person table had 10 bottles of wine.
Also, I love how she says this like there's some competition between these outlets other than trying to make money. These people aren't necessarily ideologically committed to the positions that they write about. A lot of them are just doing a fucking job. A lot of them are just getting paid to cover shit, and they go after the most interesting story, the story that will get the views, the story that will get the clicks. Like that's it. So this idea that like it's weird for Politico and the Washington Post and the Daily Mail and whatever to be in such close proximity to one another, like there's supposed to be some hostility between them because they don't align on ideological basis, is kind of bullshit. I'm sure some of the reporters, some of the journalists do have ideological beliefs and commitments, but for the most part, they're just there to do their job and make a paycheck and come home. So, yeah, like, yeah, again, I'm not surprised that they're a little disconnected, a little bit sort of just in it for, the money, the position, the clout, the job.
And the president of the White House Correspondents Association, she did a great job of trying to make the evening have that feeling of Americana. You know, we were in a room celebrating freedom of speech despite our differences. And the U.S. Marine Band performed the national anthem so beautifully. And then shortly thereafter, gunshots rang out and total chaos ensued. And you guys have all seen what happened next because there are 1,000 videos of it. So let's discuss that fact for a second. If you were in that room, you had no way of knowing what the status of the shooter was, how many there were, or honestly, really anything. It was just utter chaos. And so during an active shooting, these journalists are using their phones to find moments to capture for clips. They were so concerned about getting a video in a room with an active shooter that they could have accidentally and quite literally filmed themselves being shot.
Erica Kirk learns what a reporter is, learns what journalism is, everybody. Crazy. Like, I've seen this clip going around a little bit, and I do think this is the funniest part to me because she literally was in a room full of journalists and is shocked. It is aghast that instead of running for cover, instead of cowering, instead of, worrying about their safety, these professional journalists, all of whom the majority of whom work for news outlets and who are now at ground zero for what is going to be a fairly big news event. She is shocked that instead of running for cover, instead of protecting themselves, they said, "Fuck it. We gotta get this on camera. We gotta document this." On one hand, I think that that is, not the worst thing. I think that having people documenting events is good. On the other hand, this is actually a criticism of capitalism if you think about it, because these people are so focused on their job, on getting the big scoop, on getting the big story for their job, for their money, for their financial gain, that they're not worrying about their bodies, about themselves, about their lives. Like, I, like if we're gonna criticize this, let's criticize it from that angle. Because I think it's less about the clout, it's less about getting the clicks, getting the views, and more about I work for a professional news outlet and they're gonna be fucking pissed if I come back empty handed knowing I was here, ground zero, for this event. Like, that's capitalism. That's not clip culture. That's not clout culture or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's capitalism. And I also think it's just funny because if anybody is going to be the fucking one rushing to the scene of the crime, it's gonna be the fucking news. It's gonna be the fucking journalists. It's gonna be the fucking reporters. Like, yeah, you were in a room full of professional journalists and they all locked the fuck in when what was possibly one of the biggest news events of the fucking year kicked off. An attempted assassination of the President of the United States of America. Any journalist worth their fucking salt is going to lock in that moment. They're going to say, fuck it, we ball. Like, what? It's so fucking insane. Like, it's genuinely insane. I don't know if she's just never talked to a journalist before. She doesn't understand the concept of journalism. She doesn't understand this concept, this idea, which again, we could talk about being willing to forego your own safety in order to get the story. But I think that's more of a topic about capitalism and the pursuit of getting the story rather than just, oh, look at how shallow and vapid these people are. They only care about the clicks, they only care about the views. Like, yes, but also no.
Many of those people have become so desensitized that fight or flight became secondary to the opportunity of putting themselves into the story, which ironically breaks the number one rule of journalism. And again,
they're putting themselves into the story by covering the story. Like, yeah, maybe Olivia Reingold, who had the camera turned on herself and was, being a bit of a goofball, but most of these journalists were just locked in and just became, we're going to start documenting this, what is happening, because that's our job. Like, you could apply this criticism to any developing story, to any new, like, breaking news event, to any event, to anything that is unfolding in real time that journalists are covering. Were the fucking journalists who were on the ground at 9/11, were they only worried about getting the views? Were they only worried about putting themselves in the story? Or were they there to document a news event, to document the biggest news event of the decade? Yeah, it's a tragedy, it's a disaster, it's obviously a terrorist attack, it's something awful that is occurring. But I would personally rather have those events documented in real time so that we can understand what happens, we can look back at them, we can educate future generations about them, as opposed to not having any sort of record for what has happened. Very funny, very silly, Erica. You're funny. And why are you dressed like this? Who the fuck is styling you? I don't think she has a stylist. She can't have a stylist and she can't have a PR person. Those two things are not on Erica's payroll. Because A stylist would have stopped this, and a PR person would have stopped this. They would have teamed up and they would have said, bitch, absolutely not. You are not going in front of the camera looking like that. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking joking? Do you want them to laugh you off the fucking stage? Like, just like they would have stopped her from going out on the Turning Point USA America Fest stage dressed in fucking gold and shit. Like, they would have stopped her then too. Leather pants, they would have stopped her then too. So she cannot have a stylist and she cannot have a fucking PR person on her payroll. There is no fucking way. She is raw dogging this shit and it is fucking showing. God damn. Like, who picked this outfit? Who thought this was the thing to go with? Who said, whoever it was, they set you up, Erica?
Ironically enough, the shooter was a teacher. You have these people who are supposed to be teaching our children the future of this country, and he's so unhinged that he is able to teach children by day and then attempt to murder the president of the United States by night.
On TikTok, teens get over 50 built-in protections from the start. But for parents, further visibility and control of content can help create the right.
And in his manifesto, he starts by contextualizing himself by saying, I am a citizen of the United States of America. And while we may have big problems with illegal immigration in this country, I have to tell you, we have an even bigger problem when it comes to the systemic indoctrination and radicalization of our own citizens. This is what got my husband killed. This is what has led to 3 legitimate attempts on President Trump's life.
Maybe if President Trump and maybe if your husband didn't say such awful shit, we wouldn't be here. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a reason so many people have tried to take out the president. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying you should do it. You shouldn't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Bad thing to do. But there is a reason.
And I can speak firsthand to that unbearable toll that this must take on our First Lady. There has never been a president who has faced this many assassination attempts in Americans' entire history. And after each one, the reaction from the far left has been, at best, a shrug, and in some cases, a sick disappointment that the shooter was unsuccessful. We are all human beings. And if you can just pause and just take a minute and
we're all human beings, except for undocumented immigrants. Right, Erica? Right? We're all human beings. Except for undocumented immigrants. Except for people you don't fuck with. Like, Erica, you're a conservative. Charlie said you were more conservative than him. So for you to sit up here and be like, we're all human beings, I kind of don't think you believe that.
ask yourself, how would you feel if even just one person made cruel jokes about the attempted murder of your loved one? That is what Jimmy Kimmel did to the
Honestly, I wouldn't fucking care. She looks so scary. I don't know why the fuck she thought this was a good idea. This is insane. This is a ridiculous fucking outfit that she has put on. I don't understand the thought process here. She cannot have a stylist.
First Lady. He said that she had the glow of an expected widow.
Like, look at her. Look at her face. Oh, Erica, back up. Erica, relax. Relax, okay? Oh my god, she needs to smoke a fucking joint. I don't even know. Like, uh, she's so intense, and I don't. I like, I get it. Your husband died. That's gonna, that's gonna make you feel some feelings, but you look so intense all the fucking time. Oh no.
The glow of an expected widow. Just
One of his better jokes, actually, too. Like, I can't lie to you. Also, it was just a joke about the man being fucking old, man. He didn't know that there was going to be an attempt on his fucking life. Like, he's not psychic.
48 hours before that nightmare almost became a reality. In this culture we're living in, absorbs disagreement as a form of personal betrayal. It turns having an opposing viewpoint into a moral crime worthy of punishment. And here's what I've realized through all of this, truly, having lived through quite literal hell these past 7 months, if you strip someone of their humanity long enough, you will arrive at the chilling conclusion that they don't deserve to exist at all.
Again, do you express this amount of care towards undocumented immigrants or any of the people who are affected by Trump's policies and rhetoric? Like, do you, or is it just, it's, yeah. You don't. I know you don't. I know you don't.
Every morning I wake up to a new headline lying about me. I have comedians dressing up in whiteface. I have people saying I'm not
Whiteface. Whiteface. No, sure, fuck it. Fuck it. Words have no meaning anymore. Fucking whiteface. It was the same fucking shit, like, after Drewski did that shit with, and then after Drewski did that shit, was it Jake Paul who turned around and was like, "I wanna do blackface now?" And it's just I could sit here and I could attempt to explain the historical context around blackface that makes it unacceptable and try and get you to understand why whiteface is not the same fucking thing, but there's no point. There's just no point. There's no reason to try and explain it. It I genuinely believe that if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you're just not going to get it. You're just not going to understand, and I don't think I can waste my breath on it, man. Like, there is a historical context that makes blackface unacceptable. That is it. Whiteface is not a fucking thing.
fit to be CEO, and I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband. And the list goes on and on and on. There is a serious epidemic of dehumanization plaguing this country. The most unthinkable tragedy.
Your husband was leading the charge, bro. Your husband was leading the fucking charge. And now he's got motherfuckers picking up the flame, carrying the flame. Oh man, all right. It's fuck it. Why not? You just incredible. Incredible. We live in an incredible time, an incredible country. Truly amazing, truly the best. I don't know what we would do without it. Like, there's a dehumanization plague Yeah, it's coming from the fucking right. Have you seen the way they talk about undocumented immigrants? Have you seen the way they talk about anybody who they don't agree with? But sure. Yeah, alright. No, that's chill.
Tragedies have now become commonplace in our daily headlines, and yet the media finds a way to conveniently explain away violence. This is what we're up against. This is what we're up against. What is happening right now is something none of us.
Also, I have to be honest. As an actor, from one actor to another, Erica, you're a little rusty. You're a little out of practice. You should maybe consider getting back into community theater or something. Because if you're going to keep doing these videos, you gotta get back into practice. You gotta get those chops up, because this is bad. This is just bad. This is bad propaganda. It's bad acting. It's mediocre. And if you're gonna do this, I want better. I want better. I want better outfits. I want better acting. I want better writing. Okay? I want better across the fucking board, Erica.
Can afford to ignore. The evil forces working to divide us, to distract us, and to pull us apart has never been stronger. This is a moment for Americans to come together and decide what kind of country we are going to be before we lose our country altogether. In Romans chapter 12, verse 21, it says, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." And this is why my husband created Turning Point USA, so we could have civil discourse and debate and open dialogue, because when we stop talking to each other, bad things happen. I am choosing to fight for America, for my children, for your children, and for our humanity, because we all need to do our part. And by the grace of God, we will succeed, and America will remain what she was always called to be, a shining city on a hill, a light to the world.
God, that's incredible. Can we get a side by side of her and Janet? Hold on, let me see if I can get. Let's see here. uh, 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 uh. Hold on. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, it's great. Oh my god. I mean, truly, who wore it better? It's like not even. This is like a fan made one too. Oh, I love it. Like this is it. Like this is basically the outfit. Like Erica saw this fan made version and said, "I want to do it." Oh my god. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. No, it's perfect. That's it. That's yep. Again, If I had criticisms for Erica Kirk, it would be invest in a stylist, invest in a PR person, and invest in some acting classes. I think those three things will really start to turn things around for Turning Point USA. Or you could just step down as CEO and let somebody else take over. All right. I did want to talk about. Hold on here. I did want to talk about a specific race that is occurring. And as it stands right now, things have developed because basically Graham Plattner is going to be the Democratic candidate for the Senate in Maine. And I have not commented on this in my time yet. I've not given a comment on this, mostly because I don't live in Maine. And I don't think that my opinion matters too much on whether or not Graham Plattner should be given this position. There's been a lot of discourse, let's say discourse around this. Janet Mills has dropped out, leaving Plattner to basically be the pick here. And Plattner has an interesting history, of course. He is a veteran, and he also worked for Blackwater, and that has rightfully put some people on edge. Cannot argue with that, to be completely honest with you. I do think that this discourse is a little pointless because at the end of the day, someone's getting elected. And it can either be someone who has shown. It could either be someone like Plattner who has shown at least an interest in moving in a more progressive direction and being more to the left, and I do think that he is more progressive. He's just a fucking chud. Or it can be somebody who isn't. And I ultimately the people in Maine are going to decide. So again, my opinion means very little, but I don't think Graham Plattner is going to turn out to be another Fetterman. I do think he should be approached with caution. I do think that he should not be necessarily just accepted with open arms, but there is always this conversation about veterans, about whether or not they should be sort of included in the coalition, I guess. And the argument, of course, being war criminals, war crimes, that sort of thing, which I am not downplaying or attempting to sidestep here. I do think that that is an important topic that needs to be discussed. And I do think it's fair to be cautious of them, given their history. I also think it's important to recognize the history that veterans have played historically in movements in this country. And historically, they have just been an asset. So, if anything, we should continue to use them as a tool for our advantage. And I don't necessarily think that they need to be like sworn off, but I do think that Graham Plattner has a lot of baggage. He also has the whole Nazi tattoo thing, which that one's a weird one because you either have to be very dumb to sort of not I mean you don't like I can believe he didn't know it was a Nazi tattoo. I can believe that a dumb fuck American who's sent overseas or whatever doesn't fucking know that shit. Um what I can't necessarily buy is is how he continues to be like it's like weird how he continues to be like I went through multiple screenings for the military and it didn't get caught. Like, yeah, shocker, the military didn't catch your Nazi tattoo or they didn't care about your Nazi tattoo. Like that right there shows me that he's still got a little bit of like a specific view of the American military where he doesn't necessarily recognize that um it is, a bit of a Nazi factory, so to speak, in some regards, and that there are a lot of fucking people in there who are just straight up white supremacists, and especially now with Pete Hegseth at the helm of the Department of War. It is just I don't think that defense is necessarily the best, but he loves to ride with that one. Um I was trying to find the actual article about Janet Mills dropping out, but one second here. But yeah. Mills decided to drop out, so Plattner is now uh going to be the Democratic nominee. I believe he's been endorsed by Bernie Sanders, which, that's dope. Yeah, the biggest hang up for him has definitely been the Blackwater service, specifically the multiple tours, I believe, of Blackwater, and the Nazi tattoo, which he did have covered up. I just think it's a little crazy that you had a Nazi tattoo and you continue to just like anyway, I just crazy. It's a little wild, just a little wild, but I do believe he's dumb enough that he didn't fucking realize it was a Nazi tattoo. Like I do think he's dumb enough. I do think he's oblivious enough that he didn't think to check that out. Um I personally would have I personally would not get anything tattooed on my body without knowing what it was. I just I think that is probably my baseline, but So now he'll be going up against uh what's her name? Is it Susan Collins? I'm not entirely sure. Who I believe has the support of Chuck Schumer. So that tells you right enough right there. But yeah, I guess my thoughts on Graham Plattner is ultimately I expect he will not be a John Fetterman. I don't necessarily think he is being dishonest in his more progressive beliefs. He's obviously still just kind of like a chud from Maine, so he's still pretty pro military. He's still pretty pro, gun, pro things that I may not necessarily support, but of the candidates that are possibly going to be elected, I would imagine he is probably the better pick with an asterisk next to it. Yeah, the better pick with an asterisk is probably what I would say. And again, I do just kind of think this discourse is kind of silly because someone is going to be elected and it's going to be either someone like Graham Plattner or it's going to be someone more conservative like Susan Collins. And I personally would rather have someone like Graham Plattner, but the people of Maine will decide. I have my own race here in Michigan to focus on. And so, yeah, we will see what happens with this for sure. Very interesting. I have been keeping my eye on this one for a little while. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I do think that I understand why people are cautious of Graham Plattner 100%. But I also think that that caution is not going to stop somebody from being elected to that seat. And someone is going to be elected. I don't know why you would rather have it be Susan Collins unless you're a Republican. But that's my hot take on that, I guess. That being said, I don't want more Graham Plattners. I want people more radical than Graham Plattner. What else did I have here? Daily Wire layoffs, we did that. Candace lawsuit, we did that. Erica Kirk, we did that. Graham Plattner, we did that. Okay. Let's do the libs of TikTok shit. Because libs of TikTok was having, it's been just like a rough day for pretty much all of the conservatives, I guess. It's just like a bad day for the conservatives, it seems. Which I love to see, not gonna lie to you. I vibe with it, I fuck with it. Oh, here we go. Here we fucking go. So, Riley Gaines posted this video, and it's her and her baby. I guess she's having some problems with her medical bills. Let's hear what she has to say.
I gave birth to this perfect, precious little angel in September of last year. It is April, nearly May of the next year, and I am getting bills in the mail nearly every single week. Let's look at them. Okay, this one is a bill for $2,000. The service description literally just says vaginal birth. Here's another bill for $1,261. What's the description for? Actually, it doesn't even say. Here's another one for $336. The service description is subsequent hospital care. What does that mean? Here's another $675 charge for hospital discharge day. What service is it? You're just charging me for discharge day? It says on this bill that our insurance information wasn't provided, but our insurance was provided on every other bill. I don't know, none of it makes sense. My husband just called, he was on the phone for 20 minutes, and we got no answers. They said they could get back to us in the next 90 days. You have to assume that they just hope people pay these without asking any questions. Since President Trump has signed his executive order for hospital price transparency, only 1/3 of hospitals are in compliance. President Trump has done what he can do. We need legislators to act to rein in these unchecked practices and to
Or, hear me out, we could get universal health care. And you wouldn't have this problem. So, that's what Riley Gaines had to say. And then old Libs of TikTok had to chime in with her own take here. And she says, last week I randomly got a $9,000 bill for a hospital visit from last year. I called them up and they said my insurance decided not to cover it. Why? Because Aetna can just decide they're not interested in covering something, and then you're left with an inflated bill to pay out of pocket after the fact. This is in addition to a $2,000 bill that I already paid. They just don't want to cover it despite me paying a monthly premium. Meanwhile, illegals get free healthcare. Honestly, fuck you, Aetna. I'm gonna do everything I can to destroy you. Sign up to pay $999 a month is crazy, bro. Oh my god. And then you've got people in the comments with like somewhat similar stories. People saying, have you tried telling the hospital that you're here illegally, which is fucking ridiculous. Like, the problem is not undocumented immigrants. The problem is we don't have universal health care. If we had universal health care, you wouldn't have this fucking problem. You would just go to the goddamn hospital when you need to. It would already be paid for by our fucking taxes. And that would be it. You'd go home. Maybe you pay like $20, but that would be it. It's kind of crazy. Like, there's a real solution to this problem, and it is not it is not blaming fucking undocumented immigrants. Oh man. All right. Like, it's so fucking like in your face. It's ridiculous. There's a solution to this problem, and it's one that you will never advocate for because you're a right-wing fucking shill. So they both are, both Riley Gaines and Libs of TikTok. I will continue to fight this battle on your behalf, but just know you're fucking ridiculous to get up here and complain about this shit, knowing full goddamn well you will never turn around and advocate for universal healthcare or anything of the sort. You will continue to just hammer on about undocumented immigrants and how they get free healthcare and you can't. Like, your complaint here is, meanwhile, illegals get free healthcare, and you don't turn around and say, why don't we all get free healthcare? Your argument is just they shouldn't get free healthcare, which they don't anyways, but your argument is they shouldn't get free healthcare. None of us should get free healthcare. How about we all get free healthcare? Fuck you, man. Pisses me off so goddamn much. Like, there's an easy solution to this problem. It's right in front of your face. It's literally right there in your fucking post. It's free healthcare. It's right there. I'll highlight it for you. Free healthcare. Right there. Free healthcare. You got it? That's what we gotta do. And then you won't have this problem anymore, okay? Okay, cool, great, awesome. Moving on. Holy fuck. Yeah, sure. Scott Jennings, piece of shit from CNN, who, like, that's really all I know how to refer to him as a piece of shit from CNN. He got real mad. He got real fucking mad. We got a little clip here. And I just really think it demonstrates how fucking soft these motherfuckers are. So, you got Adam Mockler here, who I personally am kind of meh on, but whatever. He ate this one little thing. I'll give him that.
Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going
name one political concession. Name one political concession.
Hey, whoa. Honestly, I'm not going to have this guy's
everybody,
in my face.
Everybody, hey.
Like, hello? This man is like half your fucking age, bro. And where is the hand in your face? Like, Adam seems like somebody who talks with his hands. It's not like he wasn't doing this all fucking night next to Scott Jennings. And then right now, when his hand is like 2 feet from his fucking face, which is a normal distance to be in this proximity. He just turns around and goes, "Get your hand out of my face." Are you fucking serious? Come on, dude. Oh my god. Like you're I don't know how old Adam Mockler is. He's like in his early 20s, right? And Scott Jennings is how old? Do we have an age on Scott Jennings? Hold on. Let's see. See if we can't get an age on Scott Jennings here. I want to know the age gap on these two. 48. Scott Jennings is 48. Adam Mockler is 23. Adam Mockler is 23. Scott Jennings is 48. This man is more than half his age. And he is losing his goddamn mind. Because he had his hand somewhat near his face. Or something to that sort. In reality, it's nowhere near his face. Like, look at this. Look at where his hand is. Look at where his hand is, and look at where his face is. And again, we can go even just like a few seconds earlier here. He has no problem here. No problem here. And then it just gets a little bit closer, and then he's like, get your hand out of my face. Oh, and then Abby Phillips is like, guys, wait, stop, no. And it's just like, look at him, look at this asshole. He looks like such a little piss baby. And Adam's like fucking having the time of his life. I can't fucking blame him. I too would be geeked at this moment. Like, I would be pushing all of the buttons from here on out. It would be over. Like, we are not getting out of this room without you crashing out, because what are you doing? If I see you are this close to the fucking edge, I'm pushing. I'm sorry. I have intrusive thoughts. I see you are that close to the edge. I'm pushing. Scott Jennings, you're going over the fucking edge because I gotta do it. I gotta fucking do it. Oh, man. I just can't believe it. Scott Jennings is unraveling in real time. And then there's like the whole like thing that came out about him possibly being gay, which was, spicy. I mean, live your life, King. Live your life, King. Be who you are. Be who you are. Oh, man. Like, Scott Jennings is just so disgusting. I really cannot stand him. And I personally think that they didn't go hard enough. I think that they should have gone harder. And this whole segment was about Iran and the war and that sort of thing. And Adam was trying to get Scott Jennings and company to acknowledge that the war has done nothing for Americans, etc., and that kind of thing, which is true. But also, we just shouldn't be doing this anyways because it's fucking illegal. But that aside, that moment was just very funny. Very good moment. Love to see these motherfuckers get a little bit spicy because they're just so fucking stupid. They're just so fucking stupid. Let's see here. That's almost everything that I had on the list for tonight. Okay, we can do this one last one here. I didn't actually prepare anything for this topic because I didn't think we would get to it. So let me bring something up here. Tonight's just a night of lawsuits. A lot of lawsuits happening. A lot of lawsuits, including looks maxing extraordinaire Clavicular, who has a lawsuit happening. Allow ads. Fuck it. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a fucking second. Give me a fucking second. Gotta turn off the ad blocker. I'll be a good little consumer. Alright. Clavicular. Looks maxing extraordinaire. He's really been taking the news by storm as of late. And he is I gotta do the fucking. You're killing me. You're killing me. You're actually killing me. Give me a second. Rolling Stone, you're killing me. Come on. Give me the article. There we go. Oh, that's not the right article. Nope. What the hell? You're killing me. You're killing me. I'm going to commit a crime. What is going on? What the hell? That's so weird. Okay. It had like the wrong URL for the. I have no idea what just happened. That was crazy. That was crazy. Okay. Hold on. I got it now. This is ridiculous. Now it's just not working. I'm going to commit a criminal act. Awesome. Awesome. Nope. Okay, hold on. Loading. Just close that tab because you're losing it, man. My computer is losing it. It's moving at a snail's pace all of a sudden. Okay. We back? We good? You good? You ready? Can I look at the article now? I'd really appreciate it. Alright, there we fucking go. Oh my god, that took way longer than it should have. Holy hell. Okay. Clavicular. Clavicular sued for allegedly injecting underage influencer with unapproved drug. The looks maxing streamer, who is being sued by Alora Ziva for battery, fraud, and intentional infliction of emotional distress, is also accused of having sex with her when she couldn't consent. The looks maxing influencer Clavicular is accused of inflicting physical, emotional, and psychological damage in a lawsuit filed by 18-year-old influencer Alora Ziva. The 20-year-old streamer, born Braden Peters, is being sued for battery, emotional distress, and fraud. According to court documents reviewed by Rolling Stone, Peters and Alora Ziva, real name Alexandra Vasilevna Mendoza, met through social media last year. The suit claims Peters wanted her to be the female's face for looks maxing and assisted in her rise online by paying her $1,000 to film videos for which he wrote the scripts. Peters and Mendoza allegedly met for the first time when he paid for her to take an Uber to his parents' home in Cape Cod. Once there, she claims she was given alcohol to the point of being visibly intoxicated. Peters then had sex with Mendoza while she was knowingly intoxicated, to the point where she was unable to give consent, the documents read. That morning, while Mendoza was asleep, she woke up with Peters penetrating her and having sex with her, again without her consent. However, the claims of battery and emotional distress are seemingly unrelated to the incident or the sponsorships Mendoza claims she lost when Peters began to discredit her online. The lawsuit specifically highlights a kick stream hosted by Peters during which he allegedly injected Mendoza with Aqualix, an unapproved drug intended to melt fat on her cheeks as part of his promise to help her with her online presence through looks maxing. Ugh. Oh my god. I do genuinely think all this shit is really fucking dark, man. Like, I get all the memes are funny, and it's funny to, like, laugh at shit like looks maxing and mogging and whatever, but, like, this is just a lot of fucking people with body dysmorphia and eating disorders who are playing out this fucking weird fantasy almost. It's genuinely concerning. Like people on the fucking right like to make a whole big heyday about society playing into the delusions of trans people by, you know, affirming their gender and shit. And they act like society shouldn't be doing that kind of thing. Like, I think society shouldn't be playing into these fucking delusions. like I think we shouldn't be fucking memeing about fucking about these motherfuckers. But, like, you know, I won't be a total killjoy. I'll still get in on it, I guess, but holy fuck, dude, I really think there's just some dark fucking shit at the core of the clavicular looks maxing uh like conversation that is actively ignored for the sake of the memes. Like, we are watching someone who is going to get himself killed and or somebody else killed, and it's just it's crazy. The accusations set forth in the lawsuit stem from Peters injecting a minor with substances without disclosing he is not a licensed healthcare provider. Okay, I don't think he needed to disclose that. Like, I'm sorry. If you needed him to disclose that, we have other problems that need to be addressed as well, because you're telling me you saw this motherfucker and didn't realize he wasn't a licensed healthcare professional? Come on, dude. We got to have a little bit of like seriousness here. Mendoza believes the injection contained methamphetamine or another undisclosed substance. Peter has previously admitted to using methamphetamine to curb his appetite. Earlier this month, he shared he would be quitting drugs after being hospitalized for a suspected overdose. He recently stated that he would spend the summer sober maxing. Okay. The accusations set forth in the lawsuit stem from Peters injecting a minor with substances without disclosing he is not a licensed healthcare provider. Mendoza claims that the injection led to severe emotional distress, trauma, humiliation, nightmares, fear, panic, and mental anguish. The lawsuit also notes that the alleged incident was live streamed on Kick and remains available to the public. I did see the video. I'm not going to play it because, like, I mean, she's a fucking, like a fucking minor. So I'm not going to play a video of her being injected with drugs, but I did see the video. It is still out there, and I think it's just kind of dystopian to just watch this guy inject this girl with drugs, knowing that he's doing it because he's trying to have her looks max. It's like the definition of fucking it's just like the definition of just like the patriarchy and just these sort of like misogynistic forces like shaping women to their desires and shit, and and then just like discarding her when it's not good enough or something. Like, I don't even understand like what the whole um fucking like situation is with this kind of shit. It's so fucking disgusting. Mendoza is seeking injunction relief and damages. Our client will tell her story through the legal process. In the meantime, we do look forward to hearing from Mr. Peters and his lawyers. Clavicular's attorney, Steve Kramer, vehemently denies the claims. I mean, what part are we denying? Because there is video of him injecting her with drugs. Like that is true. Like I suppose he's probably denying the sexual assault claims and that kind of thing. But like he's on video injecting her with drugs. Saw it with my own two eyes. These are allegations only and remain unproven. Mr. Peters denies the claims and disputes the characterization of events. He will respond through the appropriate legal channels and intends to vigorously defend himself. We will not comment further at this time. So, that is the clavicular lawsuit. And like I said, it's very dark. It is very dystopian. Like that's the one word that I keep coming back to when it comes to clavicular. I think it's very dystopian. I think it is a very interesting aspect of our society, of who we become when we get on the internet and how we are able to sort of disconnect from people and disconnect from these figures and just sort of watch them engage in this behavior. And in some ways it is like reality TV. Like if you grew up watching something like the Bad Girls Club, for example, this is probably not a foreign experience to you. Which is funny because I did watch a lot of the Bad Girls Club, but I still feel like this is a step beyond even. Like the Bad Girls Club in its later seasons at least pretended like it was trying to help the contestants, like it was trying to help these women better their lives. There was at least like a veneer of we're not as awful as we actually are. And with Clavicular, there is no veneer. There is no attempt to make himself out to be something he isn't. It's just all there for the observing, and it is kind of depressing because when I look at it, I just see a young guy who is deeply unhappy with his body and is doing what he can to improve it in his mind, and has also just sort of created this whole grift almost around him, because I do think it's a bit of a grift. And it does play on the insecurities of young men, and in my opinion, it's no different than something like sort of eating disorder Twitter and that kind of thing, those sort of communities that people fall into and perhaps also are somewhat preyed on from those sorts of things. So I do think it is just very similar in that regard. It doesn't really set off different alarm bells for me. It's very similar. It's very much in that same vein. And I don't think it's healthy. The memes are fun. It's a fun time. You know, it's silly, it's goofy. They sound silly, they sound goofy. It's fun to watch Clavicular get into these awkward interactions from time to time, but there are still like real people at the core of this, and really young people too. Like what are you going to be thinking in 10 years when you look back at this shit? Because I look back at my early 20s and I'm not even like in my 30s yet, and I still will be like, ooh, some of those actions were a little silly, a little goofy, a little not the best. Like I would maybe do things differently. And I'm not fucking out here injecting myself with fucking meth and uh hammering my face to try and get a certain bone structure. Like you do shit in your fucking 20s, in your early 20s, that you don't you wouldn't do. Like it's a time of your life when you are fairly susceptible to outside influences, when you are fairly easily manipulated by things. You know, you're still growing, you're still searching for yourself, you're still sort of trying to navigate this adult world now, and you have a lot more freedom than you did before. It just it can be a bit of a recipe for disaster if you don't know how to handle it, if you're not ready for it. And I do think that a fair amount of people, especially in the aftermath of COVID, are not ready for it. They're not ready for their early 20s, and they get there and then they end up in shit like this. So I do think I could talk for a long time about how I think COVID did a number on the sort of later Gen Z. There is something to be said about if you were in college for a period of time before COVID, which I was, and if like just the people who were still in high school, the people who were just starting college, they had a very different experience than I did. And one that I think has played significant fact a significant part in their development, in their late teens, early 20s development. It is just who I do think we will be seeing the ramifications of COVID for quite some time, which is unfortunate. God damn. All right. I am going to wrap this up here, and we will keep an eye on clavicular. We will keep an eye on everything going on for sure. But yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Anyway. Oh, okay. I am going to wrap this up here. I am going to end the stream here as well. It is getting a bit late here, and I have some other things I want to work on. I have a video I want to work on. But I will be back Sunday, same time, 10 p.m. Please feel free to come hang out. We'll vibe, we'll talk about discourse or anything else happening on the internet. I almost wanted to talk about that blue chick who's been popping off on Twitter in specific spaces. A lot of discourse surrounding her, but I also don't know if I want to get into trans people's business like that. Like that's not really my space. Um but I did want to kind of talk about that a little bit. So maybe we'll get into that discourse on Sunday a little bit, just for just to delve into it. But aside from that, I will be logging off. So have a good night, have a good weekend. I will see you Sunday at 10 p.m. and I hope you have a good time. Please take care of yourself, all that lovely stuff. Check out my links down below. Hit that subscribe button, like all that awesome stuff. Check out my newest video, and I will catch you all later. So, yep. Take care of yourself. Free Palestine, and goodbye.